Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 2 Peerless Tang Men based on novel. So let's start. Even the heaven fiend Doluor felt his heart skip a beat when he heard these words. This girl was truly ferocious and dauntless. How could Ma Rulong and Xiao Xiaofeng not feel intense hatred when they heard her words? Two of their friends had just perished under Ma Xiaotao's hands, even if it hadn't been intentional. This feeling was intensified now that they were standing before the target of their vengeance, and was even further aggravated when Ma Xiaodao took the initiative to provoke them. Ma Rulong had no confidence at all if he was to battle Ma Xiaodao by himself. However, it was a different story with Xiao Xiaofeng by his side, who was a Class 5 soul engineer. He would have a much easier time dealing with Ma Xiaodao with Xiao Xiaofeng impeding and obstructing her. Xiao Xiaofeng was infuriated at Ma Xiaotao's words, and nearly pounced forward before Ma Rulong held him back. Do you guys really think you still stand a chance? You may not even be able to beat us, and so what if you do? Do you really think that those two little fellas over there can defeat Xiao Hongchen and his sister? Stop your wishful thinking, they have no way of countering Meng Hongchen's venom. Ma Xiaodao chuckled and said, "Is spouting nonsense all you know how to do? If you're trying to beat down my fighting spirit, then you're dreaming. That venom is bullshit. Why don't you ask that immature little girl if she dares to face me in battle? I'll burn her alive. Stop this nonsense and let's get this over with." She then turned and walked to the edge of the competition stage. Ma Rulong took a deep breath, as he knew that Ma Xiaodao wouldn't be easy to handle. Her temper was fiery and explosive, but her thoughts and reasoning were meticulous and thorough, to the point where he wasn't even sure what Ma Xiaotao's true strength was. He had yet to see where Ma Xiaotao's baseline lay, even up to today. Ma Rulong led Xiao Xiaofeng back to their corner, gradually distancing themselves from their opponent. This round could be said to be the ultimate showdown between the Shrek Academy and the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's respective team leaders, and was also a clash of the highest level in the competition. Shrek Academy would have a shot at victory if she won, but if Ma Xiaodao lost, it would automatically decide the competition's result. Ma Xiaodao quickly backed off to the edge of the stage, her eyes flickering with chilly light. Nobody knew what was on her mind as her expression grew solemn. The heaven fiend Doluor glanced at both parties. The finals were about to end at long last. Even he felt a little exhausted from fully concentrating for such a long time. Despite his cultivation, let the competition begin. The ultimate showdown had finally started. Ma Xiaodao dashed forwards, while her phoenix wings swiftly emerged from her body into the air and flapped backwards. Her body barreled towards Ma Rulong and Xiao Xiaofeng like a meteor. As she did so, she opened her mouth, a phoenix fire line surging out from it and asserting long-distance pressure. Ma Rulong and Xiao Xiaofeng weren't slow either. Ma Rulong was well aware that the methods he'd employed against Jiang Peng would be useless against Ma Xiaodao. A thick, bluish-purple cannon barrel instantly appeared on his shoulder, which almost immediately fired a bluish-purple ball of light. He and Xiao Xiaofeng shared a decent chemistry, as a unidirectional soul shield was unleashed that protected them both from the Phoenix Fire Line attack when he did so. At the same time, he rooted himself to the ground and quickly released his soul tool fortress. Metal clanging sounds could be heard as a series of cannons appeared on his body with lightning speed. There was no doubt that he intended to use his most formidable firepower to coordinate with Ma Rulong. Relying on his food-type Soul Master's salient characteristics, his ability to continue battling was the best amongst the other Sun Moon team members. The bluish-purple lightning strike that Ma Rulong had fired from the cannon in his hands wasn't directed at Ma Xiaodao. Instead, it struck the center of the competition stage. A bluish-purple light wall was immediately erected at the exact spot it struck, barricading Ma Xiaotao's advance. According to Ma Rulong's judgment, Ma Xiaodao was fearsome and ferocious, thus she would definitely attempt to forcefully charge forward. And when she would fall into his trap. This Class 6 soul tool that Ma Rulong had just used was strong in the sense that, once Ma Xiaodao touched it, she would be stuck to it like a housefly in a spider's web. Immediately afterwards, the lightning energy contained within would envelop her entire body. When that happened, Ma Xiaodao would have to deal with the might of their attack. Although it couldn't truly harm her, it would be able to buy sufficient time for her to be subjected to their immense firepower while she was trapped. However, they didn't expect Ma Xiaodao to stop the moment the lightning screen appeared. She stopped extremely quickly, and her sixth soul ring lit up. Damn it, the Phoenix meteor shower. Ma Rulong cursed to himself, his expression changing drastically. Was Ma Xiaotao's sixth soul skill so easily resisted? That lightning trap had become her defensive barrier instead. The golden barrel that had given Team Shrek a lot of trouble appeared once again at this moment. Ma Rulong squinted his eyes as he aimed the golden barrel towards Ma Xiaodao. Whenever Ma Xiaodao unleashed the Phoenix meteor shower, any movement she made would greatly affect its power. Ma Rulong had Xiao Xiafeng to defend him, thus he wouldn't suffer too much if he was struck by the Phoenix meteor shower a few times. On the contrary, Ma Xiaodao would be the one in deep trouble if she was struck by his attack. Ma Rulong's reaction was both quick and appropriate. However, the Phoenix meteor shower didn't strike when he expected it to. When the golden barrel appeared in Ma Rulong's hand, Ma Xiaodao suddenly stepped backwards and punched out with her right fist. A ball of fire was sent towards the lightning barrier in front of her. The lightning immediately engulfed the ball of fire, then blew apart. Ma Xiaotao's figure turned illusory when this happened. On closer inspection, her flaming wings were flapping rapidly behind her back. It was due to this flapping motion that she managed to rapidly change her position in the air. She even left a series of shadows behind her that shimmered as she continued to advance forward. Ma Rulong realized, to his horror, that he couldn't lock onto her exact position. What ability was she using? It was obvious that she wasn't using a soul skill, as her body wasn't shining with any soul rings. This was obviously a secret technique suitable for soul masters. Team Sun Moon was much stronger in terms of applying soul tool forts compared to other ordinary soul engineering academies. Xiao Xiafeng's attack was holistic. There were automatic explosions, intense rays, even trapping-type soul tools involved. The entire competition stage seemed to light up with dazzling lights. It was impossible for Ma Xiaodao to dodge all of his attacks, thus she could only face them head-on. Ma Xiaodao was more powerful than Dai Yueheng, but her body wasn't as tough as his. She used her wings as her shield, and exerted all of her soul power to resist the wave after wave of Xiao Xiafeng's relentless attack. Even though Ma Xiaodao wasn't a soul engineer, she was rather familiar with the strategies that they used. Xiao Xiafeng's soul power was bound to be depleted extremely quickly if he kept this up, as he was only a Class 5 soul engineer, yet he was trying to suppress a soul emperor. His attacks couldn't last long at this rate. Xiao Xiafeng would become less and less useful to Ma Rulong as his intensity dipped. Ma Xiaodao was the calmest at the most critical moments. She carefully observed Ma Rulong's actions while she was resisting Xiao Xiafeng's attacks. Xiao Xiafeng was, without a doubt, aiding Ma Rulong. Ma Rulong's attacks were much more threatening towards Ma Xiaodao because of this. Ma Rulong suddenly grabbed the golden sword's hilt with both of his hands and slowly lifted it, intense golden light shining from the sword's body as he did so. 9 core formations could be seen extending from the sword tip down to the hilt. Streaks and streaks of light shot into the air as the intense golden light shone. Ma Rulong lifted the sword far above his head, his pupils slowly starting to turn golden. Awaken, Judgment Sword! Ma Rulong shouted, injecting his soul power into the huge sword at a frightening speed. A white halo could be seen rising from his feet, because he was injecting his soul power into the sword so intensely. As the halo moved round his entire body, it eventually reached his hands, then entered the sword. The sword also started to experience changes. The golden light on the hilt retracted, while the sword gradually turned 2 different colors. One side of the sword turned white, while the other side turned black. The 2 contrasting colors exuded an odd sense amidst the golden light that flashed, ordained as darkness, guilty of heresy. Ma Rulong grabbed the huge sword with both his hands, then pointed the black side of the blade in Ma Xiaotao's direction. A streak of black radiance flashed through the air, then suddenly disappeared. Ma Xiaotao's entire body raged with flames. However, when the black radiance reached her, all of her defenses failed. The black radiance simply flashed as it entered her body. Ma Xiaodao immediately felt her body turning abnormal. Her crimson-red phoenix flames instantly turned black, and dark and chilly scents filled her entire body. The evil energy that had been suppressed immediately rampaged through her body and combined with the black phoenix flames. She was about to lose control. What soul tool is this? Ma Xiaodao was appalled. It was her first time experiencing something as strange as this. This soul tool attack couldn't be defended against. It was also at this point that Ma Rulong flipped the huge sword over. The white side then emitted an intense white color and shone with an extremely bright white radiance. The surging aura of light instantly filled the entire venue. Ma Xiaodao groaned in pain as the black phoenix flames on her body turned into a haze. She felt as if she was going to be decomposed by the light. The phoenix flames in her body started to flood out of her. Ma Rulong appeared very pleased. The scheme that he'd plotted had finally succeeded. He'd once mentioned in his competition against Jiang Peng that a soul engineer was the most familiar with his own self. That was why all of his soul tools were self-developed. He hadn't said it for Jiang Peng, however. He'd said it for Shrek Academy. In reality, the Judgment Sword couldn't have been created by him, as it was a Class 8 close combat soul tool. In fact, it was one of the best Class 8 soul tools. Ma Xiaodao couldn't control her flames anymore, even if she wanted to. The intense aura of light suppressed her from the outside, causing the dark flames on her body to be extinguished, whereas the evil phoenix fire continued to ravage her body now that it had been combined with the power of darkness. Ma Xiaotao's body was on the brink of collapse. The evil aura had become a part of darkness. The Judgment Sword's effect on her was even greater compared than it would be to an ordinary soul master. Her eyes that had originally flashed with flames had instantly turned pitch black. Was this the end? Was she going to lose? Was Shrek Academy going to lose? Shrek's glory was at stake here. Ma Xiaodao became filled with fury. She was extremely indignant. Jiang Nannan, Xu Sanxia, Bei Bei, and Ling Luochen had all been defeated. Even Dai Yueheng had lost his combat abilities due to fighting against their opponent's poison-type soul master. They'd given their all in order to contribute to the eventual victory of Shrek. They'd even put their lives on the line for Shrek's glory. But as their team leader, was Ma Xiaodao going to collapse just like this? Judgment? What bullshit judgment? I'm not convinced. I don't believe that there's anything that can judge me in this world. Ma Xiaotao's desire to survive, coupled with her strong resentment, was revealed. As the inheriting disciple of Shrek Academy's dean, Ma Xiaodao was one of the best in terms of abilities, talent, and competitiveness among all the inner courtyard disciples. Nobody her age could rival her. She was Shrek Academy's future hope. With her talent, she could have gone even further and become the first in Shrek Academy's history to become a soul sage before she was 21. However, she'd regretfully been delayed because she had to repress the evil fire within her. Thus, this was never fulfilled. All of this repression disappeared at this moment. Her martial soul began to show signs of changing due to the purification, at this instant under the effect of her resilience. The phoenix was the king of all birds. Even only the strongest and most powerful dragon could be mentioned in the same breath as a phoenix among phoenixes. Fire phoenixes had the purest bloodline. However, they weren't the only ones with an extremely pure bloodline. Ma Xiaodao had a part of the fire phoenix's bloodline in her body. However, this bloodline wasn't pure. She'd never be a true fire phoenix because of the evil aura that also existed in her body. But the bloodline in her body suddenly changed. It became that of a dark phoenix, filled with desolation and violence. This phoenix's sole purpose was to destroy and wreak havoc. This was the evil side of the fire phoenix, the dark phoenix. It had appeared in the world for the first time as a martial soul. A clear and crisp phoenix whistle resonated from Ma Xiaotao's mouth. At the same time, a huge, golden light blade had just taken form on the Judgment Sword. It then slashed towards her. The black flames were quickly extinguished as they met the golden light blade. The competition was also bound to end when the sword slashed down. The Heaven Fiend Doluor would definitely stop the sword from striking Ma Xiaodao. But the black flames on Ma Xiaotao's body that had quickly turned to haze began to gather and compress inside of her. Following that, a huge projection appeared behind her back. An entirely black phoenix that was much smaller than the original evil phoenix appeared. However, a frightening aura was exuded from its pitch-black body, and its deep, purple eyes were filled with an aura of desolation and insanity. This isn't good. Xiaodao has changed. Elder Xian suddenly stood up. His eyes revealed a look of anxiety. Even with his experience, he couldn't determine whether this change that Ma Xiaodao was experiencing was good or bad. Ma Xiaodao screamed. When she opened her eyes, a purplish light flashed, and a frightening aura emerged alongside her black flames. A streak of crystallic yellow light instantly emerged and turned into a huge blade of light alongside her maniacal, tiger's roar. It struck the side of the Judgment Sword heavily, and a loud boom resonated. Ma Rulong's Judgment Sword was stopped in place, while Ma Xiaodao held another huge blade in her hand. This was what had been concealed within the ring that Dai Yueheng gave to her. It was the tyrannical tiger soul blade, the Class 8 offensive close combat soul tool that they'd obtained from the top-ranked auction. This soul blade was 4.5 feet long, and I was at least 1 inch thick. It was curved like a cavalry saber, while its hilt was made of bone, and its pommel was extremely wide. Overall, it was shaped like a tiger's head. This soul blade wasn't comparable to the Judgment Sword in terms of quality, and to unleash its full might, one needed to be a soul sage at the very least. However, Ma Xiaodao had understood Dai Yueheng's intention when she'd received the ring. She also believed that she'd be able to at least land a few strikes with this soul blade if she utilized her phoenix flames. But she hadn't expected to use this soul blade under such circumstances. Now that she turned into the Dark Phoenix, she could sense that everything was different. A boundless aura of brutality and violence raged from her heart, while a frightening aura was instantly unleashed. The tyrannical tiger soul blade's 7-ring restriction couldn't even stop her from using it. As she held the soul blade, black flames instantly entered it. Ma Xiaodao screamed once again, and the black phoenix behind her slowly drifted in front of her, then fused with the soul blade. As she held onto the soul blade's hilt with both hands, her delicate figure made a half-turn in the air. She then swung the soul blade again. Ma Rulong couldn't resist her anymore this time. His cultivation was not only beneath hers, but he'd also used the Judgment Sword against his abilities. The soul blade strike that was previously unleashed against him nearly crippled his ability to wield the Judgment Sword further. When Ma Xiaodao struck again, the Judgment Sword flew out of his hand. The huge soul blade landed on his body with a tiger's roar, and a black light flashed. The invincible barrier lit up in time. However, something extremely shocking appeared. The invincible barrier was torn apart within the first second, even though it was supposed to last for 3 seconds. Ma Rulong's body flew backwards and heavily struck the defensive barrier around the competition stage. Ma Xiaodao then swung the tyrannical tiger soul blade towards Xiao Xiafeng. Xiao Xiafeng continued to persistently attack Ma Xiaodao after she transformed. However, he was absolutely horrified when he discovered that almost all of his Class 5 soul tools had lost their effect. The attacks unleashed by his soul tool fort were ablated by Ma Xiaotao's black flames, with no traces left behind. Ma Rulong and Xiao Xiafeng's plan was that Xiao Xiafeng would try to restrain Ma Xiaodao, while Ma Rulong would unleash the Judgment Sword. Boom! Black flames scattered and instantly covered the entire region. When the black flames landed on the ground also started to combust and turned into a sea of fire. The regions that were on fire then began to melt and even began to collapse. Ma Xiaotao's flashing, purple gaze was fixated on Xiao Xiafeng. As she held the blade with both her hands, spots of purplish radiance seemed to spread from her eyes. A frightening aura was released from her body, and she slashed out with her soul blade again amidst a terrifying roar. "Stop, the match has ended." Huang Jinshu's frantic voice sounded. Ma Xiaotao's tyrannical tiger soul blade stopped mid-strike, and didn't slash down. The black flames around Ma Xiaotao weakened a little, and she slowly lowered the huge soul blade. A purplish radiance flashed through her eyes, but she remained steadfast. Huang Jinshu seemed a little pathetic even though he was a titled Doluo. He quickly led Xiao Xiafeng, covered in a globe of starlight, to Ma Rulong. The shield from earlier had already disappeared, and many holes had appeared in his long robe. Even a small segment of his hair seemed to have been charred away. When Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen walked up to the competition stage, their minds were still preoccupied by Ma Rulong and Xiao Xiafeng's lost looks. In the previous round, Ma Xiaodao had still managed to defeat them even though she was outnumbered and had to face the frightening attacks of the Class 8 Judgment Sword. Ma Xiaodao didn't just achieve victory. She even dented their confidence. This was especially so for Ma Rulong. Although he was not heavily hurt, he was tormented internally. As their team leader, he still lost even though he had used such a powerful soul tool, combusted his own life power, and had a numerical advantage over Ma Xiaodao. The overdepletion of his soul power meant that his powers would not just stagnate for a year. What was even more frightening was that Ma Xiaotao's black flames had left a trauma in his heart that couldn't be obliterated. Both he and Xiao Xiafeng had been trounced in their fight. However, Shrek wasn't in good shape either. They no longer had any alternatives. However, they could become the eventual champions of the tournament if they managed to achieve victory in this upcoming 2v2 battle. Younger sister, I must admit that my past opinion about Shrek Academy was wrong. Shrek is really powerful. Xiao Hongchen did not look arrogant anymore. He was still a little pale from the injury he had received. But there was a sense of resilience amidst that paleness that had never been there before. Meng Hongchen sighed. If all their official team members were here, we'd not even stand a chance. Xiao Hongchen looked into the sky. The rain was getting heavier, and there was even a layer of mist in the air. Their clothing was also wet, but didn't become drenched, as their soul power evaporated some of the rain. I must stabilize myself after this tournament. Grandpa was right. It's not a good thing to increase our cultivation so quickly. It's not just because our bodies can't handle the burden. It's more because of our psychological mindset. If I don't stabilize myself, I'm afraid that I'll continue to be unable to reach my peak. More than a month had already passed. After all the hard-fought battles and effort they had made, they had finally reached this stage. This was especially so for everyone on Shrek's team. It wasn't easy for them to be standing here in the final. The burning competitive streak in Hui Yuhao's eyes dipped a little. In his eyes, a dim golden light subtly appeared. Although he wore an obvious look of innocence, there was also a shocking calmness about him too. Wang Dong and Hui Yuhao were different. A light seemed to shine from Wang Dong's body. That pure feeling of light seemed to cause his body to burn up. No matter how gloomy it was or how the raindrops kept on falling, everything around seemed to turn clear as he stood there. Xiao Hongchen was a 5-ringed soul king. His martial soul was a 3-legged golden toad, and he was a class 5 soul engineer. Meng Hongchen was a 5-ringed soul king too. Her martial soul was a vermilion clear ice toad, and she was also a class 5 soul engineer. Hui Yuhao had 2 soul rings. His martial souls were the spirit eyes and ice jade empress. He was a class 2 soul engineer. Wang Dong had 3 soul rings. His martial souls were the radiant butterfly goddess and the clear sky hammer. The difference in cultivation between both sides was very obvious. But no one thought that the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy would definitely emerge victorious. Hui Yuhao and Wang Dong had created a lot of miracles in this tournament. Moreover, Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen were both hurt now, and their soul power had been depleted greatly too. Their soul power could be replenished by soul tools like the milk bottle, but what about their vigor? What about their injuries? Their powers waxed and waned, making the gap in their powers less obvious than the gap in their ranks. Both sides, please step back. The Heaven Fiend Doluo shouted. This was likely to be the last match that he would referee. Huang Jinshu swore to himself secretly that he wouldn't serve as a referee if there was a next time. No one was more shocked than him right now. As the referee, he could truly sense the power of these youths. He saw many things on them that he shouldn't have seen on youths. Top-ranked martial souls, twin martial souls and even class 8 soul tools. The transformation of Ma Xiaotao's martial soul earlier left him the most appalled. His Heaven Fiend Lone Star was even unable to entirely resist Ma Xiaotao's black flames. What was it exactly? Were these youths really not even 20 yet? Especially these 2 representing Shrek Academy now. They were probably not even 15 years old yet, much less 20 years old. However, the expression in their eyes told Huang Jinshu that they were confident they would win. The Heaven Fiend Doluo was even in a slight trance now. That's because he recalled when he was only 15. He was trying his best to cultivate then, and his family hadn't been killed by his Heaven Fiend Lone Star's curse yet. But he didn't even know much about the world of Soul Masters then. He couldn't imagine how far these youths could go 20 and even 30 years from now. Hui Yuhao and Wang Dong held each other's hands as they stepped back. They knew that this was probably the toughest and the most intense battle that they were going to fight ever since they had entered Shrek Academy. It was no longer just a tournament. It was war. It was a war where their lives were at stake. But the more it was like that, the more excited they felt. Their potential seemed to be completely stimulated now. Hui Yuhao and Wang Dong were the kind of talented youths that resembled sponges that had fully absorbed water. The greater the pressure, the greater the potential they showed. Before the competition even began, their energies had reached their peaks already. As they held each other's hands, their minds were connected. Hui Yuhao's figure flashed, and he moved behind Wang Dong after they retreated to the edge of the competition stage. He placed his hands on Wang Dong's waist, while Wang Dong was calm as he looked opposite him. This was already starkly different from what they had displayed in this tournament before. In the previous rounds, Hui Yuhao took the lead when they unleashed their martial soul fusion skill. Everyone believed that Wang Dong was only his aide. Besides unleashing their martial soul fusion skill together, Wang Dong didn't really stand out. The only surprise that he gave was probably when he unleashed his clear sky hammer. But that was the only time. There were very few who remembered Wang Dong. But no one would forget Hu Yuhao's 600,000-year soul rings at the start of the tournament. Although everyone found out that it was fake, the shock that they felt was still deeply imprinted in their minds. Hu Yuhao was actually standing behind Wang Dong right now. It was obvious that Wang Dong was going to lead this time. No one expected this, even their opponents. After seeing Hu Yuhao and Wang Dong's movements, Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen's expressions changed slightly. They discovered that they knew very little about Wang Dong. To everyone, Wang Dong and Hu Yuhao came as a single entity. They fought together from the start. But what were his abilities? What was his martial soul? Many were already starting to think about this question. Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen retreated to the edge of the competition stage 2. Meng Hongchen stood in front, while Xiao Hongchen took up the rear. But neither of them made any contact with each other. Xiao Hongchen was not physically well yet. His physical body was completely ravaged by Dai Yueheng, and he didn't even dare to use the milk bottle to restore his soul power. That was because his passageways couldn't handle it. His dislocated bones were already set, and his injuries were already healing too. But he still felt tremendous pain throughout his body at times. He was not even up to 30% of his peak condition. That was why he could only aid his younger sister. Meng Hongchen was the one leading now. Meng Hongchen's Class 6 Soul Tool armor saved her at the last moment when she fought Dai Yueheng. But she was still hurt to some degree. Even so, she still managed to maintain more than 70% of her abilities. More importantly, she was confident in her Vermilion Ice Toad's lethal poison. Dai Yueheng could delay the spread of the poison with his Soul Emperor cultivation, but what about these two? What cultivation did they have? The tournament would likely end if they were even slightly touched by the Vermilion Ice Toad's poison. The only thing that Meng Hongchen couldn't figure out was why the two of them had such tenacious looks in their eyes. Did they still think that they had a chance in this tournament? They were Shrek's last standing members, and they had no choice but to compete. Meng Hongchen revealed a cold look on her face. Though she was attracted to Wang Dong, this was a competition that involved the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's glory. This tournament might even concern the Sun Moon Empire's glory. She couldn't lose. The pride in her heart had never been inferior to her brothers. The Heaven Fiend Doluor took in a deep breath. After that, he lifted his right hand up before it jolted downwards. Part 1 end here.